Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and good evening, and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View with myself, Baz. And what we're going to talk about tonight, well, transfer window. It slams shut on Monday evening, and as always, Celtic are doing their utmost not to help Brendan Rodgers out as much as they can. Celtic doing things the Celtic way, and as much as we can give. Just do this. I'm going to talk about the players that have left and the players that are on their way out. And players that are on their way out this evening is Lewis Palmer is on his way out. Celtic. Lewis Palmer is on his way out, and it's looking like that he will go out on loan with an option to buy. For $4 million. Which I think it's another player that will leave Celtic that's going to ultimately leave us short. Now, I think it was, who was it? It was Joseph that said, we need to get rid of some of the deadwood. When you look at the Celtic website, and the squad list, we're getting pretty short on the ground when it comes to players. Now, I'm going to read through the whole team that is available at this point, because we all know that we've got the three goalkeepers. We've got Kasper Schmeichel, Sinisalo and Scott Bain. In defence, we have, I'll just double check this. In defence, all that we have just now is Alistair Johnston, Greg Taylor, Liam Scales, Austin Trusty, Anthony Ralston, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Martin Narobski, and that's it. Alex Bailly has left. I don't know why Celtic have not taken them off the website yet, but Alex Bailly has left the club, and he is now in Italy. Ready to... Well, that one may not have put pen to paper yet, because there could be a chance that Alex Bailly may get recalled to Celtic, because and this is why Celtic are now scrambling around, because Arsenal have put a stop to Kieran Tierney coming back to Celtic early. They've stopped that completely. They've made it clear that Tierney will stay in North London as they make a push for the Premier League title and a UEFA Champions League. So they want to keep Tierney until the end of the season. They're well within the right to do that. They don't have to let him go. He's under contract. They don't have to loan him out to Celtic. They don't have to do us any favour. And Mikel Arteta is definitely not going to do us any favours. So when you look at the squad at Celtic, get Emilio Zagiri back. Jesus, that's taking the mince, isn't it? When you look at the squad, we're short. We're now short on the left back area, which is unbelievable. Mark Narobski has been rumoured that he's going to leave this window also, which means we're short of centre-backs as well. After letting Gustav Lagerbielke away, we're going to be short of another centre-back. Stephen Welsh has went out on loan, which is another centre-back. So all you've got centre-back-wise just now is Trusty, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Liam Scales and Mark Narobski. That's it. That's the only cover you've got. We've brought in Dane Murray from the B team, but I mean, people are saying he's not a young guy anymore. We're buying in players at 21, 22-year-olds. He's a young player. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter how long he's been at Celtic. And then when you look at the midfield, registered midfielders at Celtic are number 14, Luke McCowan, number 27, Arne Engels, 28, Paulo Bernardo, 41, Rio Hatate, Callum McGregor, 42, and 49, James Forrest. That's the registered midfielders at Celtic at the moment, even though James Forrest is more a winger than a midfield player. And then you look at the forwards, it says, one is number 7 is Lewis Palmer. Lewis Palmer has left the club. He is travelling to Greece as we speak, so that he can go through his medical tomorrow. He is going out on a loan to the end of the season with an option to buy, and it looks like the number 7 shirt will then be released for Jota, who's still not on the Celtic website. And number 9 is Adam Ida. All hail Adam Ida. All hail Adam Ida. Number 10 is Nicky O'Kuhn. Number 13 is Yang. Number 24 is Johnny Kenny, who's been brought back from loan. And number 38 is Dyson Myra. Now, people are saying get rid of the deadwood. That's your full squad. Where is the deadwood in that first team? Where is the deadwood in that first team? Because there's not a lot of... We're down to the bones now. We've went from having a fantastic squad at the start of the season and having a really strong bench to we're down to the bones. I mean, we're saying get rid of Yang. He's hopeless. Get rid of him. Get rid of Louis Palma. He's hopeless. That leaves us with Nico Kuhn and Dyson Maeda as wingers. That's it. That's it. This is how threadbare the squad has got. If both those players leave this window, we need 2 replacements in. Now, we've got Jota in. Jota plays on the same side as Kuhn, doesn't he? And Dyson Maeda's on the other side. If Dyson Maeda leaves this window, we're fucking up shit creek without a paddle. But he's not going to leave. Then you look at the players that are loaned out. And that list is, you can almost make a first team out of it. Stephen Welsh is loaned out, number 57. Gustav Lagerbielke, loaned out, number 24. They're trying to make, FC20 are trying to make a bid for Gustav Lagerbielke to take him off Celtic's hands for 1.7 million. Matthew Anderson's out on loan. Young Toby's out on loan. Young Lenny's out on loan. Ben Summers is out on loan. Kwon is out on loan. Ohm is out on loan. And Marco Tillio are all out on loan. Celtic are still paying a percentage of their wages. And you could say that that's the deadwood that we need to get out. You know, maybe that is it, but they're out on loan as it stands. They're not going to be released until Celtic and Brendan Rodgers get a decent replacements in. The only position that we're really strong in is the goalkeeping position. Believe it or not, you want that? Dogs want it. The only position that we're really strong in is the goalkeeping position. It's the only position that we've got. It's the only position that we've got that's got 3 players for the one position, which is crazy at Celtic. Absolutely crazy. But anyway, it is what it is, and I'm sure that Brendan Rodgers will be stamping his feet and throwing his dummy out the pram and making as much noise, talking to Paul Tisdale and phoning Michael Nicholson. I blame this situation completely on Michael Nicholson's doorstep. Brendan Rodgers said in the summer that I think that the board could have acted quicker. We're now down to Thursday night and there's no sign of incomings. They've hedged their bets and tried to get. They've done a deal behind Arsenal's back to get Kieran Tierney in, which is fair enough. That's the way that Celtic wanted to play it. They wanted to try and force Arsenal's hand. Could you imagine if you're Arsenal, right? Now, Kieran Tierney's not been a prolific player for them, but he cost 25 million, right? He cost 25 million. There's no way are Celtic spending 9 million, say, on Adam Ida, and we keep him for 2 or 3 years and he's injured for most of it, and then we let him go for nothing and to a club that signed him on a pre-contract. We then loan him out. Celtic are never doing that. Celtic are wanting cash in the door. This is why there's one player that's benefiting from the mayhem that's at Celtic just now in the left back position, and that's Greg Taylor. Greg Taylor is the only one that's benefiting at Celtic just now, because if it had been any other season and Celtic had a decent replacement in for Greg Taylor would have been sold by now. The window shuts on Monday night. Greg Taylor would have been out the door after the game last night. He would have been out the door. But because we don't have a decent left back in the club, we don't have a left back at all now, because we've let Alex Bailly go back to Barcelona. But he's now sitting in limbo because Como, he was doing his medical yesterday. But Como have not said that they've signed him. So Barcelona are in a catch-22 situation. Celtic can still recall him at this point. Celtic officially, although they've sent him back, Celtic are waiting on getting another left back in. If Celtic don't get another left back in, I could see the situation that Alex Bailly's got to get back on a plane and come back to Glasgow and see out the rest of the season at Glasgow. And Seb Fabregas is going to be going, Celtic are an absolute shit show run club. Bass left back, I've said it before, it's looking likely it'll happen. A lone player, another lone player. Look at the ridiculous situation that we're in at Celtic. Greg Taylor was brought in for the departing Kieran Tierney. Right? He was brought in for Kieran Tierney, who was sold. He has been at the club since 2019. We've went through several left backs at the club that haven't been good enough to displace Greg Taylor. We're now getting Kieran Tierney back because we've had a shit show in the left back area. Greg Taylor has got the club by the balls. He's got the club by the balls right now. And knowing that Greg Taylor is one of the safest players at Celtic right now. And I'll say it, Greg Taylor is one of the safest players position-wise at Celtic. Because we've got no one to come in and take his place. We've got no one long-term that can take over from him. So he's got the club by the balls and he's going to walk away for absolutely nothing. If you throw this league away, I'll never buy merch again. We're never going to throw the league away. We're never going to throw the league away. Cheers, lads. He's still here trying to get on another pod. What are you talking about? I'm not going through the comments. But anyway, when you look at it, Greg Taylor is the one person he has the safest position at Celtic. There's only 3 other players that are fighting for positions, and that's the goalkeepers, although they'll never get another game. But I'm just glad KT picking up 120 grand a week for bench warming. Good bit of business from Arteta. Yeah, is that? We aren't losing the league. Calm down. No, we're not going to lose the league. I mean, we're definitely not going to lose the league. Brendan Rodgers is far too experienced. But I can see us having a difficult run-in if we do not get the finger out. We've made a bid for another winger, right? We have made a bid for another winger, but that's been knocked back. Now, we all know that the Norwegian winger was valued at around 7 million. The club do not want to sell him. And what does Celtic do? Celtic go in and put a bid of 4.6 million in for Sondre. And it's like, come on, Celtic. Why are you doing this late in the window again? Do you know, and I think that Celtic, having missed out on the Spanish lad that they were after, are just pissing about at the end of another transfer window. And it looks like it's going to be a late night on Monday. And don't think that you're going to be getting an early bed on Monday, because Celtic's business will not be done and dusted until late Monday now. We're going into Friday tomorrow. There is no impending announcements of anyone travelling to Scotland, deal done. It's going to go into the weekend. Clubs are going to want nothing to do with transfer negotiations whilst there's games going on at the weekend. Celtic are notorious for not doing anything over the weekend when it comes to Michael Nicholson. Allegedly, we can only see what's going on from what we see from the outside. And Michael Nicholson, for me, the worst thing that happened to Celtic in the last 3-4 years, the worst thing for me that happened to Celtic was Dominic Mackay getting chased out of the club by Nicholson and co. And let's face it, that's what happened. Dominic Mackay came in at the same time as Ange Postecoglou, and everyone said that it was a new start. It was a new start, a new men at the top of the table, and it didn't last long. He wasn't. Although he was a Celtics fan and he was a great businessman, but he'd been in the rugby industry for many years. To me, that didn't matter. The main thing for me is that he was a Celtic fan, but he wasn't in the club, in the board. And getting rid of Dominic Mackay, now we can say was a mistake, because getting in Michael Nicholson, who was Peter Lawwell's right-hand man for years. Nicholson and Lawwell were like that. Nicholson is just running the club the exact same way that Lawwell did. And we are now pissing about at the end of the transfer window, scrapping for players that we should have had in weeks ago, trying to get a striker in. We're still not got a striker in. And Kyogo will have been out the door nearly a week before we get a striker in. And that's ridiculous. Kyogo left this time last week. He was on the flight heading to flipping. He left after the game. He left the very next day. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. But anyway, Magnus says, hello, Baz. How long did you know that players are leaving but trudge on? Exactly. Brendan Rodgers said it with the Kyogo one, and that's the one that pissed us all off. That's the one that pissed me off the most, is Brendan Rodgers turning around and saying, we've known for several months about the situation for Kyogo, and the player has been forcing the issue. That was Brendan Rodgers' exact words. He has been forcing the issue. But I don't really care about the board. They need to do the right thing by Celtic. And at the end of the day, yeah, I'm a moaning old man, because empty cells. We're at the end of the. Look at the squad. I mean, I've just named our first team squad. Our first team squad is short. Do you know, we're playing with an untested Johnny Kenny. We've got him as our second choice striker. If Lewis Palmer's on a plane right now, so we've only got Dyson Maeda as a winger for that side. You've got Jota that's coming in, fair enough, right? That leaves Yang as the weak link. We're trying to get a replacement for Yang. Does that mean Yang's going to be out the door also this window? James Forrest is injured in the midfield, which leaves Luke McCown, Arne Engels, Paulo Bernardo, Rio Hatate and Callum McGregor. You're going to say, fair enough, you've got 2 players for each position and an extra one in Luke McCown. So it's not too bad in midfield. But Rio Hatate, from one day to the next, you never know if he's going to come in and be in a fantastic mood. Anyway, the breaking news is tonight, obviously, that Celtic have had an opening bid of 4.6 million for Norwegian winger turned down. They do not want to lose him, but they value him at £7 million. The negotiations are continuing. That will be a deal that will come through at the last minute of the window. Everything's going a bit quiet with the Mateus thing, which says to me that that's more than likely going to happen now. But you never know. And at the end of the day, Celtic go into the draw tomorrow. And that's all that really matters. The fact that Celtic are in the draw tomorrow. And it should be everybody looking forward to it. I know guys that have just got back from Birmingham tonight, they're absolutely shattered. Buses getting, and fair play to the guys that go down in the buses. I mean, one bus, the Roll of Honour bus, gets back to base at 4 o'clock this morning. Another bus gets back at 7 o'clock this morning, and then people weren't getting home at about 6 o'clock tonight. Celtic part-time coming up on trains. So fair play to everyone. Luke McCown, who's he? Yeah, exactly. So yeah, fair play to all the fans that did go down to Birmingham, and they had a fantastic time. Chilpill, it comes down, it's I'm sure it's UEFA regulations that you've got to have 2 keepers on the bench. I'm sure it's UEFA regulations that you've got to have 2 keepers. Hopefully Mateus deals a deal tomorrow and he signs Monday at latest. Well, you have to sign Monday at latest because that's when the transfer window slams shut. Anyway, with that being said, we had that little moan about the hierarchy at Celtic not being up to scratch. Who else do we really need to get in this window? I mean, I think it's... Oh, Rabbi Matondo's left on loan. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. Oh, and what about the news? I don't know if you've seen it this morning. What about the news that Kyogo, the manager that signed Kyogo, has left the club? already, without even being able to use Kyogo once. He's been sacked by Rennes. Kyogo's bound to be thinking, what have I done? We can't take him back now because I think the money's already in the bank. Anyway, Monday night, I'll no sleep. Chilpel, I don't think anybody will sleep. I don't mind Kenny getting a run. I don't mind him getting a run either, but he's a third choice striker all day long. He's not a second choice striker. There was a bit of news coming out this afternoon. It's not been confirmed by any source that I can put a finger on yet, but I did get a message today saying that Daniel Cummins, there's speculation that Daniel Cummins has been offered an improved contract by Celtic as they trying to get him to sign a new contract. And I think if Daniel Cummins comes into the club, into the first team, and then you've got Johnny Kenny, we've not got the space. I mean, Brendan Rodgers is going to have to try and change the team tactically. It's going to have to be a formation change to a two up front position. And maybe that is what's going to change at Celtic. You never know. And incoming ban due the Green Brigade clown, says John. That's a conversation for another day. And 100% spot on, Baz. The way the board transfer business has always been embarrassing. Leave it too late. Low ball on clubs and players. Part of me thinks they just make it look like they're trying, says Eddie. Yeah, I don't think that they want to make it look like they're trying. What they're doing is they're trying to get the best money as possible, the best deal for Celtic and selling on players. But it's mandatory to have two keepers on the bench as UEFA rules, says Paradise Found. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that was the rules. But anyway, the scum have scored. I'm not even watching their game. I'm not interested now. We've got far too much things going on at Celtic for us to be worrying about them. Anyway, England's media have been talking about Celtic. Frustrations boiled over into the stands with plentiful of Celtic fans in the home end enjoying the opportunity to wind up some English folk. Away supporters had their official seats and dancing the jig in the interval. And Aston Villa fans took umbrage to it. Who cares? It's done and dusted. It is all about. So anyway, tell me in the comments section. Don't want anything to do with them. Exactly, Hank. Paul Wade, stop your hate for Greg Taylor. We need two better left backs and Taylor out, says Paul Baird. Right then, let me see who we fancy. Celtic Champions League. Let me just do this first of all. Do you know the worst thing about it is Celtic could feel the wrath of UEFA due to the actions of some fans at Villa Park. If Celtic media, they're not Celtic fans, they're paid journalists that work for Celtic websites that aren't owned by Celtic fans. They're owned by, you know my thing with these paid media pages. You all know them because you all go into them, and the fact that they're paid the exact same wages as the Rangers Review lads. But when you've got Celtic sites pointing out the actions of some fans, you never see their sites going on about it. I wouldn't know because I don't look. But anyway, it just does my head in. It's the modern day bullshit from. It's the downside of fan media. Rather than backing the fans, I'm old school, and you back your fans as much as you can, and until the authorities say otherwise. But anyway, we're going to do a little poll just to get you in the mood for the draw tomorrow. Next Champions League game. This will be a good one. See who you fancy in the next round of the Champions League. That's right. Who do you want? We are still in the Champions League, and people are moaning about it. Anyway, who do you want in the next Champions League game? Real Madrid or Bayern Munich? Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich, who do you want in the next phase of the Champions League? Who do you think would fear coming to Celtic Park the most? And what stadium do you want to go to? Do you want to go back to Germany after the mauling that we got in Germany earlier on this season, after a 7-1 thumping? 7-1 thumping in Germany earlier on this season. Can we, as fans, think about going back to Germany again? Or would you want to go back to the capital of Spain, Madrid, and play the big team in Madrid this time? Not Atletico, we've played them. We're plenty one we're going to play the other team, the third choice team, but it's not. It's going to be Real Madrid, and none of them Baz. Yep, Lorna, you're like me. It's like, I don't know what. If this is the disappointing thing, looking back at where we could have been in the league. And I still say that losing 2 games in the Champions League is a fantastic run that we've been on. But the draws have cost us dearly. We've got mauled in Spain too. I know we did. It's the lesser of 2 evils. We got mauled in Spain twice. Real Madrid 29%, Bayern Munich 71%. Get the votes coming in. There's only 289 people currently on. There's been 756 people on so far. Bayern are vulnerable at the moment. They won't relish a tie against us. It's good to see that the Bayern Munich manager saying that Celtic is not going to be an easy game away from home. It's not going to be an easy way game from home. Yeah, Man City are the lucky. Yeah, they will get Bayern Munich. I think that if Man City get Real Madrid, there's old scores to settle there. Why do we still penny pinch when counting the cash in the bank? No idea, and I've just noticed a little mistake in the text. There we go. It's because I didn't have that screen on. Anyway, who do you fancy in the Champions League draw tomorrow? Bunyan Jackson, Villa attacking Celtic fans, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Real Madrid and Bayern Munich will both want us. I'm raging with Arsenal for not letting KT go. I kind of knew that would happen, Chilpill. I mean, Arsenal are not going to. Arteta's not going to do Celtic any favours, and he's their player. You know, if Celtic had went in and said, "We'll buy you, we will pay cash, we'll pay cash for you. We'll buy him out the 6 months of his contract," but Celtic aren't going to do that. Celtic aren't going to come and say, "You know, we want Tierney now." And we're willing to pay money for him. No, Celtic are going to them and saying, no, we want him on loan. And Arsenal are going, are you having a laugh? You're getting him for free at the end of the summer, at the end of the season. You're getting him for a freebie at the end. We paid 25 million for him, and now you're wanting him on loan, and just like pay us at the end of his contract. But as I only listened to one Celtic fan's view, said, Joseph, we could take on both Real Madrid and Bayern on the same night. Could we take both Real Madrid and Bayern on the same night? I don't think so, but anyway, it is what it is. Arsenal has fucked us over. Yes, they have that. They have done one over on us. Potentially an away fans next round become of some thrown pyro. Let's hope not. I think that it was more to do with mass pyrotechnics. And let's just hope that there's not some kind of crazy decision comes out tomorrow. Echoes of McGinn again. Don't say that. There's certainly not a chance if we can't get players replaced. It's not the fact that we can't get players replaced. Yeah, I mean, it's what happened to getting in players before we sold players on. The whole business model that we had when Ange Postecoglou came into the club has been thrown out the window. Now, a manager does not throw that business model out the window. I'm not wanting to keep going on about it. Union scored. Yes, there we go. It's 1-1. Oh, that's the small things in life, isn't it? Um, oh dear. Anyway, let me see if there's some more Celtic headlines out there. Ex-Celtic captain backs Tierney to the hoops. Celtic continue negotiations to sign a winger, even though we need another 2.4 million. Adam Ida shouldn't be judged on his price tag. He's fully earned our backing. Martin O'Neill and why he left Celtic for Celtic. Olympiacos, the fee for Louis Palma, that one's getting widely spoke about now. You'll see that confirmation. Because that was coming out of there. They're going to pay $4 million for him at the end of the season. It's only an option to buy. It should be an obligation to buy. I still think it's a good move for him, and he'll get his move to Spain someday. But anyway, Palma, his last soiree for Celtic was in the Champions League. In the Champions League in a 4-2 defeat. Let's not talk about it, it's over and done with. Ultimately, he was brought in to fill the void by Jota. Now that Jota's back in Glasgow, it's happy days, isn't it? I'm watching My New game. The defender won't on loan is playing. Is he? I'm not going to switch it on. And it's interesting to see that. I wonder how good he'll be. It's another player on loan, and it's another situation with that left back place. I mean, who do we then bring into the club? I mean, we still, if Greg Taylor walks away for nothing at the end of the season, we bring in Kieran Tierney. That's fine, but then we're still in the market for another left back. You know, and we're not bringing anyone through the system that's Kieran Tierney-esque that can walk into the left-back position. And I think that's the worrying thing for me. And going forward, we seem to be losing a lot of players. I mean, I think we've lost, is it 2 players? We've sold 2 players from the B team already this transfer window. We've sold 2 players already from the B team. And that's what's doesn't sit well with me, because if you're wanting these young guys to play for the first team and you're wanting to save yourself a lot of money, you know, you make sure that the first team is up to. I mean, there has to be something wrong with what's going on in the background of the B team. Villa deserve to think. I think that we've done well. Scales is no more than a 4th choice squad player, says Joe. That's an interesting one, because a lot of people say that Scales he should be playing on a week to week. He should be there. He should be there before Trusty. A lot of people have been saying that for the last couple of weeks, saying that that Scales should be there or thereabout. So, I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments. Do you think that Scales is better than Trusty? And what about Cameron Carter-Vickers? What about Cameron Carter? Some funny handshakes going on with Arsenal not letting KT on loan to Celtic. It was always going to be that. That's what I said. We need 2 left backs in. Well, Paul, we've needed 2 left backs in for a long time. Right, I'm going to finish off that poll. 74% want Bayern Munich. Butland is a shit keeper. Let it stay that way. Anyway, it's a joke. Offside. Oh, for fuck's sake. Really? Anyway, that's me done and dusted for the night. I can see that everyone's wanting to go and watch some football. I might do the same. And on that note, have an absolutely fantastic evening. We'll be live first thing tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll do a half hour live. And then we will go live again at 11 o'clock for the draw. For the Champions League playoffs for the last 16. Can Celtic... It doesn't matter who we get, isn't it? But it's just going to be nice to watch the draw. Anyway, on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.
Lit. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the... Lit. Roll up to